Picture someone who has read every money book that matters. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Psychology of Money, The Millionaire Next Door, all of them twice. They can explain index funds at a dinner party. They know what an expense ratio is. They can tell you correctly why you shouldn't try to time the market. Their investment account, $0. That person doesn't have a knowledge problem. And if any part of that felt familiar, neither do you. So the next 12 minutes are not more knowledge. You have enough knowledge. You've had enough for years. What you're about to get instead is 7 behaviors, each one smaller than you expect. Most of them decided once and then left to run. And you'll do the first one before this video ends. Here's my promise, and it's the only one that matters. By the time that 7th slot fills, the reason you haven't built wealth yet won't be a mystery anymore. It'll be a decision. Let's start with the uncomfortable mechanic underneath all of it. Because if you don't understand why reading fails, you'll do it again tomorrow and call it progress. Reading about money feels like progress. That feeling is real. It's just lying to you about what it means. Your brain rewards a new insight, that little click of now I get it, with a hit of the same satisfaction it gives you for actual movement. Same chemical, different reality. So consuming financial content becomes the most sophisticated form of procrastination ever invented. You're not avoiding your finances. You're studying them, indefinitely. And studying feels so much more responsible than avoiding that you never notice they're the same thing. Behavioral researchers have a blunt name for the space between what we know and what we do: the intention-action gap. It's why most people who can perfectly describe a good decision still don't make it. Knowing was never the bottleneck. And the bottleneck that is real is not the one you'd guess. We'll name it at behavior 4, and it's probably the one running your account right now. In the last video, we named the 5 pieces of legacy code that keep smart people stuck, the old mental software running underneath every money choice. This video is what the people who got unstuck actually do, not what they know, what they do. Usually quietly, usually without an audience. Usually so small it looks like nothing from the outside. 7 behaviors, let's fill the first slot. Wealth builders don't rely on motivation. They treat it like weather. Nice when it shows up, never part of the plan. Here's the distinction that changes everything. Motivation is a fuel and automation is an engine. Fuel burns. It's gone the moment the mood passes, the moment a hard week arrives, the moment the excitement of a new budgeting app wears off. And it always wears off, usually right around the time the first hard choice shows up. An engine doesn't care how you feel, it just runs. So here's what this looks like in practice, and it is almost insultingly simple. 1 automatic transfer scheduled for the day money arrives, before you ever see it, not at the end of the month with whatever's left. Because then the behavioral data on this is brutally consistent: whatever's left is nothing. Spending expands to fill visible money the way gas fills a room. If it's in the account, it has a job by Friday. And that job is never the future. Picture 2 people, same salary, same intentions. One sets up a $200 automatic transfer on payday and forgets it exists. The other keeps $400 in checking and promises to move it manually once I see how the month goes. Run that forward 10 years. The automated person wins almost every time, and not because of the math. 200 is less than 400. They win because they only had to make the decision once. And the manual person has to win a willpower fight 12 times a year, every year, forever, against a version of themselves who is tired or celebrating or just saw something they wanted. Builders don't win that fight, they delete it. They arrange their money so the good decision happens whether or not they're at their best. That's one. Notice it required no discipline, only one setup on one afternoon. Hold that thought. Because the next behavior is what makes the first one bulletproof. Every financial decision you make repeatedly is a door your old code walks through. Remember loss aversion from the last video, the wiring that makes a loss hurt about twice as much as the same size gain feels good. It doesn't show up once. It shows up every single time you redecide whether this month's transfer still makes sense. Every redecision is another chance to lose. So builders replace decisions with rules, not "I'll invest what makes sense this month." That sentence is a trapdoor. What makes sense is exactly the phrase your anxiety uses to talk you out of it. Instead, 10% moves on payday. That decision was made once in 2024 and it is no longer up for discussion. The specific number matters less than the finality. You are not deciding anymore, you already decided. Picture the difference at the exact moment it counts. A market headline flashes red. Person 1, running on monthly decisions, opens their account and asks, should I still be doing this? And now they're negotiating with fear, and fear negotiates well. Person 2 set a rule: there's nothing to open. The transfer already happened this morning while they were making coffee. The headline is somebody else's emergency. This is straight out of the research on what behavioral economists call commitment devices. Decisions you make in advance, precisely so your weaker, later self can't undo them. A rule you set once cannot be talked out of by a bad week, a scary chart, or a sale on something shiny. Rules are how you outvote your own psychology, not by being stronger than it, but by not showing up to the fight. One rule decided once, quietly executing for years. That's what discipline actually looks like from the inside. It looks like nothing at all. Ask someone who's stuck what their portfolio did last week and they'll often know to the dollar. Ask them their savings rate, the percentage of their income that gets out the door before their lifestyle can touch it, and they'll guess high and they'll be wrong. Builders track one number, usually savings rate. Some track net worth once a month, but one number checked on a set day written down by hand. Why one? 2 reasons, and they're both psychology, not accounting. For dashboards with 12 metrics are just reading wearing a costume. 12 numbers feel sophisticated, and sophisticated feels like progress, and now you're back in the trap from the opening, watching your money instead of moving it. One number can't hide behind the other 11. Second, and this is the quiet magic, the act of writing the same number every week does something a spreadsheet doesn't. It makes the invisible visible, and visible things change. There's a well-documented effect where simply measuring a behavior starts to shift it, before you've done anything else deliberate. You cannot unsee a savings rate of 4% once you've written 4% in your own handwriting 3 weeks in a row. It starts to itch. And you cannot stop watching a number once it begins slowly to climb. The climb becomes the reward that motivation could never reliably give you. What gets measured doesn't magically get managed. That's a motivational poster half-truth. Here's the real version. What gets ignored gets managed anyway by your legacy code on its default settings, and those defaults are expensive. Tracking one number is just taking the wheel back from the autopilot. Here's the bottleneck I promised you at the start. It isn't your income. It isn't interest rates, it's your self-image, and it quietly overrides every spreadsheet you've ever made. This one comes straight from the identity code in the last video. The finding that you will never consistently out-earn, out-save, or out-invest your own sense of who you are. Your behavior drifts back to match your identity the way a thermostat drags a room back to its setting. Change the number on the wall and nothing happens. Change the setting and the room follows. So builders don't wait for evidence before they call themselves investors. They claim the identity while the evidence is still embarrassing. They claim it at $50. Picture two people opening their first brokerage account with the same $50. One says it's barely anything, it's almost a joke. The other says, I'm an investor now, same $50. Completely different 10-year trajectory, because the second person's brain now has an identity to keep consistent with, and the mind hates being inconsistent with itself more than it hates almost anything. For that second person, every automatic transfer stops being a sacrifice. It's not money I'm giving up, it's just what an investor does. The behavior stops needing willpower because it's now a matter of self-respect. This is the same mechanism underneath every durable habit change the research points to. You don't reach the identity by piling up the behavior. You reach the behavior by starting from the identity. So the actual behavior here isn't the $50, it's the sentence. Say the sentence when the evidence is still small enough to be embarrassing. The evidence catches up to the identity. It has never once worked the other way around, which raises an obvious problem. If identity is that powerful and the whole world is trying to sell you a different one every time you pick up your phone, then your environment isn't neutral. That's the next behavior. The comparison code from the last video, your tribal brain trying to close a status gap with money you haven't compounded yet, does not get beaten with willpower either. You cannot white-knuckle your way past 10,000 years of wiring that treats keeping up with the group as a survival instinct. It gets beaten with curation. You change the group. Builders quietly audit their inputs. The accounts that reliably leave you feeling behind, unfollowed, not muted. Not I'll scroll past it, unfollowed. The app's engineered to convert a flash of envy into a checkout card in under a minute, moved off the home screen or deleted. Not as a digital detox aesthetic, not for a dopamine cleanse, as financial infrastructure, as load-bearing as the automatic transfer. Here's the honest accounting nobody puts on a vision board. Every input you allow is a vote on what feels normal, and your spending doesn't chase what you want. It chases what feels normal automatically per the code. If your feed's version of normal is rented Lamborghinis and first-class cabins, your spending will drift quietly toward closing that gap, and you'll experience the drift as your own free choice. It isn't, it's the environment voting on your behalf, but flip it and the same mechanism works for you. Make your normal quiet building. A few accounts of people who talk honestly about money. One creator who makes patience look like strength instead of boredom, and the drift starts pulling toward the future instead of away from it. You wouldn't leave malware running on your laptop, silently spending your resources in the background. Your attention is running the same kind of program right now. It deserves the same hygiene. By now you might notice a pattern. None of this is about trying harder, it's about engineering. Behavior 6 is the purest version of that idea. Builders rig the physics of their own money. The principle in one line makes saving frictionless and spending effortful, and never ever the reverse. We already did the first half. In behavior 1, saving went frictionless. It happens without you on payday while you sleep. Now the other half. The one almost nobody does on purpose. Deliberately add drag to spending. Delete the stored card details from the shopping apps so that buying something means physically getting up and finding your wallet. Those extra 90 seconds are where the impulse dies. Put a 48-hour rule on any purchase over a set amount. Decided once like behavior 2, so it's a rule and not a debate. Keep the investment account a different institution than your checking. So rating it takes 3 days and a transfer instead of 3 taps. Every one of those is a small piece of friction placed on purpose in exactly the spot where your worst decisions happen. And notice this is important, none of it is deprivation. Go back through everything I've said. Not once did I tell you to want less, to feel guilty, to cut the coffee, to live small. This isn't a diet, it's asymmetry. Your future self gets the express lane. Your impulses get the security line. Both are still open, they just no longer move at the same speed. Most people run this exact system backwards. 1 click, Face ID, buy it now, spending, an obstacle course, 5 login, I'll do it this weekend, saving. Then they lie awake blaming their own discipline. It was never discipline, it was engineering. Theirs was just pointed the wrong way. The last behavior is the one this whole video has been walking toward, and it's the one Someday Syndrome hates most because it's the one that ends it. Builders have a bias for the smallest possible action taken now, not the complete plan, not the optimized strategy after 3 more videos and a spreadsheet and a weekend of research. The 10-minute version today, they have learned something counterintuitive. A small action taken now beats a perfect plan taken later. And it isn't close because the small action changes who you are, and the perfect plan only changes what you intend. Let me repeat the math from last video exactly once, because it's the whole reason the word today carries so much weight. Picture $300 a month, invested from age 25 at historical market averages, roughly $1 million by 65. Now start the identical habit at 35 instead. Same $300 a month. Same everything, around $440,000. The 10-year delay didn't cost you 10 years of contributions. It cost you more than half the final result. And here's the part that should sting in a useful way. The person who started at 35 didn't know less than the person who started at 25. Very often they knew more. They'd read another decade of books. The $500,000 gap wasn't knowledge, it was 10 years of someday. So here's the smallest action. And it's the same one I gave you last time because it hasn't stopped being true. If you don't have an investment account, open one today. It takes about 10 minutes less time than you've already spent watching this. The 3 accounts I actually use are linked below. That's your express lane already built. And if you already have the account, set up one automatic transfer, any amount. Behavior 4 already told you why $50 is enough. The amount was never the point, the identity was. 10 minutes, 1 setup, that is the entire ask of this video. Everything else, all 7 behaviors, runs quietly for a decade off the back of a decision you make in the next 10 minutes. Look at the board, 7 behaviors, all 7 filled, and not one of them required a raise, a windfall, a market tip, or a finance degree. Automate before you motivate. Decide once. Track one number. Pay the identity first. Design the environment. Rig the friction. And take the smallest action today instead of the perfect action someday. Read them again and notice what's missing. There's no secret asset class. No discipline you were born without and everyone else got. No amount of money you need before you're allowed to start. That's the thing the wealth content industry genuinely cannot sell you because you can't put it in a course. The separation between people who know money and people who build wealth was never information. It's 7 small, boring, repeatable behaviors. Most of them decided once and then left to run in the background of a life while the person goes and does something more interesting. Smart people know money. You already did before you clicked this. That was the whole premise, and if you made it this far, you've just spent 12 minutes proving it. So here's where we actually are. You've now watched the entire board fill. 7 gold slots, but there's one more slot this video can't fill for you. The one on your side of the screen. You already know which behavior is yours to start. It's the one that stung a little when I said it. That sting is not a bad feeling. That's the sound of the gap closing. 10 minutes, go. If this series is landing for you, the previous video explains why these behaviors are so hard to run in the first place, the 5 pieces of legacy code underneath every one of them. It's on screen now. Watching it next is the closest thing to a cheat code for making all 7 of these stick. Everything else, subscribe and you'll see it when it ships.